Ladies and gentlemen, gather round. You know who that is up on the stage. All you fans, all you YouTube creators, gather around, get a seat while you can, because they're going to go very, very fast for this next panel here at the Creator Stage. Creator Stage is the heart and soul of the content creator community, and you are here for a very, very special panel right now. Mr. Sean Chandler, he's going to break down, give you the roadmap to success on YouTube. So without further ado, Denver, massive round of applause for Mr. Sean Chandler.
All right, thank you so much. If you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Chandler. I started my YouTube channel, Sean Chandler Talks About, 6 years ago this month. And then 3.5 years ago, I was able to go full-time and turn my hobby into a full-blown career. And this panel is all about how I was able to do that. And there's been a bunch of neat little opportunities that have come along with turning my hobby, talking about movies way too much, into a career. So I've gotten to work some red carpets. So that's Taika Waititi, the director of the new Thor movie that's about to come out. And this was at a film festival where I worked the red carpet where he was introducing Jojo Rabbit, and got to talk with him on the red carpet, interview him a little bit. And I've gotten to do at least one press junket where I made a gigantic fool of myself where, well, this is how it started. Well, thank you for interviewing me. Or excuse me, that's right. I'm interviewing you. So that was a press junket for the new Terminator movie with the new Terminator, and instead of saying, thanks for letting me interview you, I thanked him for interviewing me, which he absolutely was not doing, but he was very gracious and kind afterward. But the big idea here is I just want to share with you how I was able to grow my channel, because this changed the trajectory of my life, and I want to help others have similar success. So principle number one when it comes to growing a YouTube channel is that it takes time. Now, I told you that I started my YouTube channel in 2016 and went full-time in 2019, but that's not the full story, because I actually put up my first movie webpage way back in 1998. It was a Jackie Chan fan page. If you don't know, Jackie Chan is a Hong Kong martial arts star, and then he transitioned over to the US in the late 90s, and I was a massive fan of Jackie Chan. So I had a fan page, and there was like a picture of his body, because he does his own stunts. There's a picture of his body, and you could click on like his arm and figure out in which movie he broke his arm. And so it was kind of creepy, kind of clever. But so I had this webpage, and after like a year and a half of running it, I got up to like 1,000 views or something like that. I had a little counter. I used to think I got up to 1,000 views because I kept clicking refresh, and my mom, who's right back there, kept clicking refresh. And then she told me on this trip, like, no, I never looked at your stupid webpage, and my heart was broken afterwards. So it was all me. I got 1,000 views of me clicking refresh on my own video, but then I stopped doing them. And I had blogs throughout the years. I had message boards I was a part of. I had podcasts that I tried to do. I had all these things I did, but they never stuck. And so it takes a long time to finally figure out what you're good at and figure out how all this internet stuff works. You have to be patient. Then in summer of 2016, that new Lady Ghostbusters movie came out, and the entire internet was doing what the internet does best, fighting. And one group of people was like, if you like this movie, it's because you're an idiot. And the other half of the internet was like, if you don't like this movie, it's because you're a sexist. And I went to go see it, and I was like, okay, that was just a totally mediocre movie. It didn't ruin my childhood, but let me go ahead and post a video. So on a whim, no big plan, posted a review, and that little decision in July of 2016 changed the trajectory of my entire life. But it doesn't just take time. It doesn't just take patience. It takes perseverance. Because you get on the internet and you're going to put hours and hours and hours into a video that you think is amazing, and then 8 people are going to watch it. And you're going to go, wow, that was a lot of work for 8 people watching it. And you're going to put out video after video, and it doesn't happen in a month. It doesn't happen in 2 months. I got a year into my channel that did work, the one that I do full-time, a year in, and I was this close to quitting. I was this close to throwing in the towel, like I'm putting too much time into this thing that's going absolutely nowhere. But I persevered just long enough that it actually stuck and it turned into an entire new career. Here's probably a fake quote from Adrian Brody, but the internet claims that he says, "My dad told me it takes 15 years to be an overnight success, and it took me 17 and a half years." Doubt he actually said it, but it's a pretty profound statement that people on the outside just see an overnight success. They don't see all the stuff that went on leading up to the moment where everything changed. That was my story. People saw me on YouTube and they saw Sean Chandler Talks About. It started in 2016. They never saw that Jackie Chan webpage. They never saw all the false starts, the blogs, all that stuff. So it takes time and it takes perseverance. So what exactly did I do to grow my YouTube channel? What exactly did that look like? Gonna walk you through the roadmap of that. And starting with how to get your first 500 subs. And at this point in time, in the early stages, it's all about growth by addition. Just trying to meet people and get better. Early on, it's a little bit like you're just trying to get traction and momentum. It's like when a car gets stuck in the mud. You have to rock it back and forth. You're cramming stuff underneath the tires because you're just trying to get traction and momentum. That's what it's like when you're starting on YouTube. You have to do anything that you can do to try and get people to pay attention to you, to get people to meet you and know who you are. And so the best way to do that is to go one-on-one and meet people. So how do you do that? Build community. Big thing that I did early on is I just tried to meet every other channel in my niche. I talk about movies, so I tried to find every other brand new creator that had under 100 subs. I didn't try and meet someone with 10,000 subs, 100,000 subs, because I don't know why they would, like, they have hundreds, thousands of people talking to them. But I tried to find all the other people who were just as desperate as me to meet other people in the space. And I would go to their videos and I'd subscribe. I'd watch their videos every week. I'd leave meaningful, insightful comments every week and try and make actual friends with them. So as an example of this, I met this guy, saw a video, he reviewed a movie called Bloodfather. No one else was talking about. I saw the movie, I liked it. And so I was like, went to this guy's video, commented, "Hey man, I watched it too. I enjoyed this about it. This is kind of weird. Love that someone else is watching it." And then just kind of said, "Hey man, I got a channel too. I'm going to be watching your videos every week." This guy, and here's the actual comment that I made. This guy is now one of my best friends. Literally, I turned 40 last year, and I was trying to figure out what do I want to do for my 40th birthday. I'd never met this guy in person before, so I literally drove cross country in February of this year to meet him because he just became a good friend. So when I say meet other creators, I don't mean sub for sub. I don't mean like, "Hey man, I'll sub for you if you sub for me." I mean meet people and talk with them, interact with other people in your niche and build relationships with them. And I've kind of done 4 of these little fan expos in the last 4 months. And that guy, Cody, I just showed you, he spoke at one of them with me. A guy named Austin Burke that I met over YouTube once again, he spoke at one of them with me. Meet people. Really build a relationship that's meaningful with them. So that's one of the big things that I did that I think that kind of helped me out early on is I just met everyone else. It's growth by addition early on. Anything to get traction and momentum. Second one, engage with your community. When you're starting out, every single person matters. And you don't get a zillion comments, so you can respond to every single comment. Here's a little pro tip. Respond to every single comment you get with a question, a thoughtful question. Like, take what they said, respond, and turn that comment into a conversation. So they keep coming back to your channel because you keep responding to them. And when you do that, you build a relationship with your audience. You build community very early on. And I still have people that are like, "Hey man, I don't know if you remember me, but like I've been responding to your comments back since 2017 when you did this video." It's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that I did that. Thanks so much for sticking with me all these years. I really appreciate it." Even some of the people here, they've right over there, there's someone that told me they've been watching my videos for years and years, and then we've actually met in person over the last little bit of time because I'm here in town. Actually build connections with people. Social media is about being social. That's what makes it different from television and so cool. And the other one on here is join online communities. Join online communities. Whatever your niche is, if it's cosplay, if it's gaming, there's a zillion Facebook groups about your thing with people desperate to talk about their thing. That's why they're on the internet in a Facebook group about your niche. They want to learn about it. So join the community. Meet the people in that space. Talk with them. And just get plugged in person by person, one by one. Meet as many people as you can. But the other thing in that early phase, when you're starting out, it's not just about building community. It's also about getting better. You're in the practice stage. You have to build your content creation muscle. Because early on, when it comes to creating videos for YouTube, there's like 1,000 skills you have to be good at. Talking to a camera is awkward and weird. Even if you're used to talking in public, even if you have the gift of gab, it is weird to be in a room by yourself trying to be energetic, funny, and charismatic, or whatever you're trying to do. It's weird. That's a skill you have to learn. Editing is a skill you have to learn. Trying to figure out how to write good titles, it's a skill you have to learn. So you just need lots and lots and lots of practice early on. And one of the reasons you might not be growing yet is probably because you're not as good as you think you are. Your mom probably thinks you're awesome. Everyone else is like, yeah, you're all right. You're decent. If you're just walking up, that's my mom right over there wearing a shirt with my name on it, running that camera over there. So she always thought I was amazing. No one else cared who I was. So she kept my numbers going for a very long time there. But big thing on here, also, it's okay to be a cover band when you're starting out. When you're first starting out, it's okay if you want to copy a bunch of people. Whoever inspired you to start, when you're starting out, there's a lot of skills. You don't have to be able to master coming up with great ideas. Sure, copy me, creating thumbnails. That's a tricky thing to figure out. When you're starting out, it's okay to be a cover band. When the Beatles started, the Beatles were a cover band. For a couple of years, they played in bars, these 7-hour sets where they just played other people's songs and got better and better and better as playing as a band before they went out to go and change the world. So when you're starting out, you just need lots and lots of practice to get good at creating videos, get good at all the different skills you have to master. So in that early phase, you need to meet people and you need to get good. And it takes practice. Everything takes practice. People message me all the time like, hey, I put up my first video. Can you give me some insight? Watch my first video and tell me if it's any good. Well, I can tell you right now, your first video is not going to be very good. The first time you do anything is not very good. So I'll tell them like, hey man, create videos for 3 months. And then maybe I can give you insight because you have to figure out what you enjoy doing. You have to figure you out, and then maybe I can help you out because your first video, it's not supposed to be awesome yet because you're learning what you're doing. All right, so we got our first 500-ish subscribers. It's growth by addition, going where people are at, meeting them, growing your audience. From there, we're trying to get into that next phase, getting your first 1,000 or so subscribers where it starts getting into growth by multiplication. And the goal here is to learn how YouTube works. Learn how YouTube works. See, YouTube is a business that allows people to post content for free, and then they want people to click on it so they can slap an ad in their face. And then that person clicks on another video, and they slap an ad in their face, and they're trying to create this super creepy Skynet that's designed to guess what each one of you want to watch next. That's what they're pouring millions and millions of dollars into, trying to guess what you want to watch next. So if you as a creator can figure out how YouTube works and what it's looking for, then all of a sudden they start recommending you to people. So we're trying to figure out how does it work, and at its core, to make it super simple, the basic idea, how does YouTube work? You have to get people to click and to stick, which sounds very simplistic, but you think about it, so many people only focus on getting people to click, but that's only half of the equation. Can you get someone to see your video and go, oh, that looks interesting, and click on it? But then can you deliver on the value to get them to stick around to the end of the video? That is at the absolute core of how YouTube works. It might sound like, aren't you just stating the obvious? Sure, it's a little bit obvious. But you need to let the obvious stuff soak in. Like when it comes to fitness, people are always looking for the hacks and the tricks. Like, well, if you stop eating at 8 o'clock, then this will do. Sure, but at the end of the day, any diet that works or any fitness goal that works, it involves your diet and working out. That, anyone will tell you, if you want to get into shape, it involves your diet and working out. It's the basics. But everyone's always looking for the hacks. Same thing when it comes to YouTube. At the end of the day, you have to crack the code for how to get people to click and get them to stick around. In the world of YouTube, we talk about the algorithm. And at its core, the algorithm is click-through rate plus watch time. That's how it works. Those are the key metrics that YouTube is looking at to determine which videos to recommend to people. So what does that look like? Click-through rate is the percentage your video is clicked on when it's recommended. So you go to the YouTube main page and there's 10 videos recommended to you. Every time someone clicks on yours, your click-through rate goes up. And so it's that percentage when your video is recommended that it's clicked on. And in your analytics on YouTube, it shares all of this with you. YouTube, Google, YouTube is owned by Google. It's just as creepy as you think. They are tracking every single thing, and then they share it with the creators. And it tells you exactly which one of your videos has a good click-through rate. Exactly which ones people are clicking on. So how do you increase your click-through rate? What does that look like? If you want someone to click, if you want to increase your click-through rate, you need an enticing idea, title, and thumbnail. At the core of everything, you have to have an idea that's interesting, which might seem obvious, but at the same time, how many videos do you see out there that you have no idea what it's about? Like they recommend something, you're like, I don't know what that is. Why would anyone click on that? So you have like the idea is at the core of what makes for a hit video. Everything starts with a great idea. I heard an interview with Mr. Beast, a guy that's about to hit 100 million subscribers. He might have already hit 100 million subscribers. He said he used to spend an hour a day brainstorming video ideas. An hour per day. And so he comes up with these crazy ideas of like, I'm going to bury myself alive for 48 hours. And you go, what? Bury yourself alive? And then you hear that and you go, well, that's kind of interesting. Like, how's he going to do that? How is he actually going to not die? Where's he going to go to the bathroom? And then that's a fascinating idea. That video is like 100 million views because it's an interesting idea. Or he'll do something like, can you stop a bullet with how many magnets does it take to stop a bullet? That's so stupid. But I want to know too. I wonder, what is that? So you need an idea that's interesting, and you have to be able to capture it with a title that's enticing, partnered with a thumbnail that teases the value on the inside. So one of the great examples of this that maybe is negative, but like clickbait articles. You'll see that title that says, you won't believe which celebrity died this year. And they have a picture of Hugh Jackman. And you're like, that combination of that title and that picture makes you go, like, I'm 99% sure that Hugh Jackman didn't die this year, but what if he did? What if I missed that? And so you end up clicking on the video, even though you know they're lying to you. So that's the deceptive version of it, but the principle still applies to when you're trying to make a good video. You need a great idea that's enticing, and then a title that tickles the brain, that creates a little itch in someone's brain that makes them go, huh, I wonder. And the only way for that itch in their brain to be scratched is to click on the video. Like the ones I have frequently click on are like 10 amazing facts about this movie that you didn't know. And I'm like, I know a lot. I wonder if I know them all. Or what if they know something I didn't know? And it creates that tickle in my brain that can only be resolved by clicking on the video. That's what you got to do with your titles. One of my good friends on YouTube, his name is Griffin. His channel is called Film Speak. And he has been knocking it out of the park for the last year and a half with these video essays. They're sort of like movie reviews, but they're like 45 minutes long. They have a central premise. They all kind of have a single word take on a movie. And all of them are enticing. So you can see one in there. It says favorite, and it has a picture of Spider-Man. The video is about how he thinks The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is the best. It's perfect. It's his favorite. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which everyone else thinks is the worst Spider-Man movie. And he's like, no, that one's my favorite. That one's perfect. And then he builds an argument for his hot take. He has a very well-articulated explanation for why he has this unpopular opinion. So the title itself catches your attention. Like, what? Amazing Spider-Man 2? That one? but then he actually delivers on the value. And all of them are like that. Whether he's like saying that, like when F9 came out last year, the Fast and the Furious movie, he says, I'm like, absolute disaster. And everyone that watched that movie and thought, cars in space, this is stupid, they wanted to click on his video, and then he explained why cars in space is stupid for 45 minutes, and the video knocked it out of the park. But he's just great at coming up with these titles and thumbnails that are enticing. And he'll email me, he'll text me like 10 titles, and he'll say, which ones do you like? And I'll say 3 that I like, and I like this word and this one, but I like the idea of this one. And then he'll take the word from one and he'll use the title of the other to make the perfect pairing of a thumbnail and a title. That's how you get people to click. The other part of the algorithm is watch time. It's exactly what you think. How long did people actually watch your video? And that's where people look at the vanity metric. How many views did it get? That's how many times people clicked on it. But did they actually watch it? You've been on YouTube. How many times have you clicked on a video and left immediately because it was awful? 100 times every day? And so it's not just about can you get them to click. You have to get them to watch the whole video. So if you want someone to stick, you need to deliver on the value promised in the title and the thumbnail. That seems obvious, but you're asking someone to give you their time. You are, like, of all the videos on YouTube, when they click on yours, you are taking their time. You have to earn that. And so are you delivering value? Here's where I learned this one. The video in my first year on my channel that had the most views was my trailer reaction for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So that movie comes out, or excuse me, the trailer drops, and I had just done a live stream. And I immediately was like, oh, I'm going to do my trailer reaction first. So I get mine out first so the most people click on it. But I didn't know how to do all the fancy technology stuff. So if you can see what's going on in this picture, I asked for my wife's phone. And the way I did this trailer reaction is I put one in front of my face, and then one, I held it up to the camera. And this is how I clicked play at the same time and just went for it. Other detail, if you look in the bottom left of the picture, you will notice there's a visitor in the video. My son walked in and I was like, hey buddy, just try not to talk too much while I'm doing this. And he starts picking his nose. Like he's just going for it, picking it like all the way to his brain, picking his nose in the video while I'm doing this. Third big problem, I didn't know how to stream properly yet. I didn't know how all of that worked. And so I had the settings wrong. So the whole video is going, so it's the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer, gonna watch this one. How do you think this video did with people actually watching to the end? Not good. In fact, I've got a chart. If you can see, it looks like a slope on a roller coaster. We start at the top and we immediately go straight down. Immediately. Because the video is terrible. It's the video's still on my channel, you can go watch it. The frame rate is about 2 seconds every 3 seconds. The audio is crackling. My son's picking his nose. I'm holding up 2 phones. It was terrible, so no one stuck around. Here's why this is important. Like I told you, this was the most viewed video on my channel the first year of my channel. The most viewed. And it was terrible. So to 16,000 people, I put forward a terrible first impression. So the next time YouTube recommended one of my videos to them, they went, ugh, this guy sucks. I'm not clicking on one of those again. I made that mistake before. I wasted their time. So I didn't, it hurt me, even though it got a ton of views. Next principle on here along those same lines, you have to study your analytics. If I didn't study my analytics, I would have seen that video as a big hit. 16,000 views. That's a good number. That's still a good number for me. At the time, it was a phenomenal number. Then I looked at my analytics, and it was terrible. Terrible. And so you got to go in, and I know it's nerdy stuff. I know it's doing homework. I know the fun part of doing YouTube is creating videos. And then I'm like, yeah, study your analytics. Do homework. I'm doing this because I don't want to do homework. If you want to grow, you got to do the painful thing of going into the analytics and diving into that stuff and learning. It's painful when you first look at it. You're like, oh, people really aren't watching. But whenever I first started to take off in summer of 2018, I did a deep dive. I literally made a 25-page document where I looked at 20 videos, looked at those charts, and wrote everything that I learned. And you will learn words that you say that make people leave your videos. That's how detailed this stuff can be. And you can figure out all of it. It is painful. It is brutal. But you learn so much when you do that. Hey, Larry. Nice to see you. So another one of my YouTube friends. People, I talked about people that I met early on in the first section. That's a gentleman right over there. Met in year one. And then in 2017, when Justice League came out, he came out to Austin for, was it Wizarding World, I think it was? And we shot a spoiler review for the terrible version of Justice League that came out that first time. So once again, meet people. He's right there 5 years later, still having connections with people. Moving right along, trying to continue that multiplication. This next phase, your goal is where you really discover your niche and where you deliver unique value. So you have to have a niche, something unique, where you deliver value. Principle, you must find your focus or your niche. Be known for something. So you go to the gas station to get gas. You go to the bookstore to buy books. You want to be known for something. Like for me, in the movie space, I'm known as the ranking guy because I rank franchises, and people make jokes about, one of these days you're going to rank your own videos. They just... Everything that's goofy ranking idea is a joke now that people think I'll do it because I became known as the ranking guy. How did that come about? A year into my channel, I went, when I do a movie review, I get like 100 views. And when I do a ranking of franchise, I get 500 views. I'm not brilliant. I'm not great at math, but 500 is more than 100. What if I do more of those? And I made that, I said earlier, I almost quit at the 1 year mark. I made that observation in that same month. And that little observation, that might have saved me from stopping my channel. I was this close to stopping it. I had that observation. Let me change my strategy. And then it dramatically changed my growth over the next few months because I became known for something. There was a specific thing that I did more of and a little bit better than other people. And therefore, I built a niche in a specific space. There's lots of people talking about movies, but I found a little thing that I was doing specifically. The other one in here is you need to offer unique value. You have to offer unique value. You are asking for people's time. People's time is valuable, so you need to earn that. So every video needs to be entertaining, useful, or insightful. Every video needs to be entertaining, useful, or insightful. So think, these guys named Dude Perfect, not very insightful, not very useful, very entertaining. They do trick shots. They just do stupid shots. And you're like, how on earth did you make that? It's entertaining, therefore they're wildly successful. Then, a few years back, my lawnmower broke. I needed to figure out how to clean out my carburetor. I know nothing about this sort of thing. I found this video. The audio is terrible. The guy is not charismatic as all. He is not very good at editing. But it sure was useful. He knows how engines work, and he knows exactly what you need to do. And he knows what a dumb guy like me that does not know how engines work, he knows the thing I'm going to get confused on. And so he talked me through it, and I was able to figure out how to clean out my carburetor. I don't know how to do it now. I'd have to rewatch the video. But this video right here helped me clean out my carburetor because it was useful. And in the case of like my channel, hopefully I'm insightful. Hopefully I'm able to articulate other people's feelings about a movie. And that's the biggest compliment people give me. They say, hey man, you're able to like put into words what I felt about a movie. That to me is the biggest compliment. I don't need you to agree with me. Or you'll say, I totally disagree with you, but I understood what your perspective. I understood why people didn't like that movie that I liked. Those are the biggest compliments because it gives insight into the way someone else perceived of something or puts words to someone's feelings. So it needs to be entertaining, useful, or insightful. Every video, because you need to deliver value. And you stop and think, in your space, are you entertaining? Are you entertaining? Are you insightful? Or is there something useful in it? You do cosplay stuff. Like, are you actually giving a useful, whoa, I got angry and punched my mic. Are you delivering something that helps people do something? Here's another thought. If you make the same videos as everyone else, you compete against everyone else. Like in the movie space where I'm at, talking head movie reviews, there's no barrier to entry. Anyone can do it, therefore everyone does do it. It's impossible to stand out. if you're just a talking head movie review channel and people are like, hey, I want to review movies. Do you think that's a great way to grow? Like, no, you got to have you have to have something different about what you're doing. You have to find something because there's just too much competition. There's people that started doing that 13 years ago, and you're competing against them. And then you're also competing against me, and I started 5-6 years ago. And then thousands and thousands of other people have started. So if you make the same videos as everyone else, you compete against everyone else. I said earlier, it's okay to be a cover band when you're starting, but cover bands don't change the world. The Beatles started as a cover band. They didn't change the world until they started writing their own songs. When they did something new and different, that is when they changed the world. So at some point in time, you have to figure out your unique angle, and that's the hard part. Finding some way to stand out on YouTube these days, there's so many content creators. There's so many people putting stuff out there. It's tough to find that way to get your edge to get ahead of people, but you have to find a way to provide unique value. Here's another principle on here. You must be willing to do what no one else will do. You must be willing to do what no one else will do. Really easy to sit down, just push record, and share your thoughts on a movie. It's easy, therefore everyone's doing it. What are you willing to do that other people aren't doing? So I think a guy on YouTube named 3C Films, when Space Jam, the first trailer came out, I watched it with my kids, and in it, there's a zillion little cameos and Easter eggs. And we're like, oh, did you catch this person? Did you catch this person? We finished the trailer, and then in the bottom right, there's this little video, 101 Easter eggs in the Space Jam 2 trailer. And my kids are like, can we watch that? I want to see everyone that's in there. And this guy, 3C, his real name's Chris, and I did one of these panels with him once. He went through, frame by frame, every face on there and looked them up, and like some obscure Hanna-Barbera character that I forgot they existed. They looked up the name of that person. He looked up every single one of them. He did the research I did not want to do and created the video that gave the answers that I wanted, but I did not want to do the work to figure out. He added value. He did what no one else was doing. He did something no one else wanted to do. Therefore, that video had like 2 million views. It was crazy. Why? Because going frame by frame through a trailer and researching every single face in that trailer takes a lot of time. Looking up a graphic for everyone takes a lot of time. But he did the work, and therefore he saw the results from it. Another one of my friends, like with all these Marvel or Disney Plus shows, I'm in Texas. They drop at 2 a.m. where I live. If you're in Florida, they drop at 3 a.m. So whenever they drop, whoever gets the first review out gets a few more views. They get that initial burst of people that watched it at 4 a.m, and they immediately went, what did other people think about it? What did other people notice? If you get the first review out, you get that burst of people. So I'm 40. I've got 3 kids. I'm not staying up till 2 a.m. to watch something when it first drops. Certainly, if I shoot a video at 3 a.m, woo, that is not going to be great content. But some of my younger YouTube friends do that. They stay up till like 5 a.m. to get the first review out, and they just knocked it out of the park on some of those videos because they were the first person there. They did something I was totally unwilling to do, and they got the benefit of doing so. One more thought in here. I'm talking about offering value in a specific niche. The other big thing about that is that you build momentum. That we've all had those times where you discover some video on YouTube and you're like, that was awesome. I love this video. Man, I bet I love this channel. I wonder what else they have. And then you click on their channel and they have 0 other videos like that one. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'm moving on. And then you move on and you forget that channel existed and you never go back to them. But if they'd had a niche, if they had more videos like that, you would have stayed. They would have become your favorite channel. Instead, you forgot about them. That's why it's so important to build momentum and have multiple things. So when one of them takes off, there's more just like it. The way my channel initially really started to grow is 6 months after I realized, oh, I'm the ranking guy. 6 months after that, and growth had been good for those 6 months. It was like, okay, yeah, this is kind of working. But 6 months later, I had a video take off. It was right when Thor Ragnarok came out. This video took off and did exponentially better than any video I'd ever had before. And it was one of these rankings, and I thought like, hey, maybe I should make a video that I would watch, which sounds like, yeah, you probably should make videos you would actually watch. That sounds like common sense, but I had that thought. So I made it shorter and I made it a little bit funnier, and this video took off. And so all of a sudden, tens, hundreds of thousands of new people are introduced to my channel for the first time. But unlike that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 trailer reaction that was awful, this video was actually good. And so they actually watched it and stuck around. And then YouTube went, hey, by the way, all you new viewers, he's been doing these rankings for 6 months. I've been doing 1 a week, 2 a week for 6 months. That means there was 50 more of them. And then YouTube cross-references my archive of videos. Oh, water. I should probably drink some of that. With their viewing history, overlaps the two and starts recommending that backlog of content to them. And it worked because I had a niche where I'd made an archive of content. So when people discovered one, YouTube could recommend the others. Final little piece in here, when you start getting into exponential growth, the kind of growth that transforms your life and your channel. And at this point in time, it's all about creating binge opportunities. Creating a scenario where people just sit on your channel consuming the content. So how do you do this? You have to know the tentpole events in your niche. My throat is killing me. I'm probably going to lose my voice in a second, so I probably should drink some water. Woo! All right, you have to know your tentpole events. Those are the events in your niche which generate big momentum. When it comes to football, the Super Bowl. If you live in Denver, apparently, whenever you win some sort of championship, it creates a big event. I got to town here. I'm from Austin, Texas. Showed up Thursday. I guess while all the celebrations were happening downtown, like there's traffic everywhere. We went to Chipotle for dinner that night, and everyone there is wearing a jersey. I'm like, what is going on here? Well, there was something that generated momentum in a niche, in a city, generated momentum. You need to know those things for whatever your YouTube channel is about. So gaming, whenever a new game that your people are excited about drops, that's a tentpole event. I talk about movies, whenever a big movie drops, that's a tentpole event. In particular, I talk about Marvel movies. So when Spider-Man No Way Home came out, and I told my family, hey, I'm locking myself in the office for the next 3 weeks. I'm just cranking out content. I'm not going to sleep. I am just going to be writing things, ranking everything imaginable. It happened to fall right at the end of the year, right at the holidays, right at my 15-year anniversary with my wife. So I was like, all right, got to lock out one day to spend time with the wife. Christmas, one day for them. Everything else, we are generating content because this is a tentpole season. In December of 2021, by far the best month of my channel's history. Spider-Man, he's my pal. That was awesome when that happened. But you know those tentpole events. And when people are excited about something, they rush to the internet to find other people excited about that thing. That is what you want to jump a hold of, that wave of momentum. Big idea here, think in series. Don't think about one video. Think about a series of videos. So when that tentpole event happens, think, what's everything I can do leading up to it? What's everything I can do when it drops? What's everything I can do following up afterwards? So me for movies, I do those trailer reactions to build anticipation, build excitement for the movies I'm excited for. When the movie drops, I'll do an out of the theater reaction. I'll do a movie review. I'll do a spoiler review. And in every single one of these videos, I tell everyone, hey, this is my non-spoiler review. Come back in 2 days. I got a spoiler review. In the spoiler review, hey, if you're watching this one and didn't know it, I did a non-spoiler. If you haven't watched the movie yet, don't watch this video. Watch my non-spoiler review, then go watch the movie, then come back and watch this one. Oh, and by the way, come back in a few days. I got even more stuff coming. In every video, promote your other content so they know what you already did and they know what's coming so you can come back for more. But think in series. Think, how do you keep people coming back to your channel long term? Here's a pro tip on here. Every time you make a video, know exactly which video you want people to watch next. Know exactly where you're going to send them. Think, whoever liked this video, what do they need to know that I've also done? Then study your analytics and know exactly where you have a drop-off. I do movie reviews. As soon as I say the score for a movie, boo, everyone leaves. So I tell people, hey, if you like this video, also know that I've done da-da-da-da-da. I do that 10 seconds before I tell the score. So as soon as they're like, all right, I'm out of here, I know the score, I have told them where I want them to go. And as soon as I say the score, then I go, hey, if you like this video, remember I did that one right there. Bye-bye, and the video ends. So right as they're about to leave, I tell them where to go. Know what you want them to watch next. And even second pro tip on it, send them to a playlist that has multiple videos that you want them to watch. And don't use your playlist as a junk drawer. Like, curate them for specific viewing experiences to keep people on your channel. YouTube's model is to get people to stay on their website. So if they're staying on your channel, you're keeping them on YouTube, and therefore YouTube's like, I like this channel. I'm going to recommend their stuff a lot. So I'll close out with this. Here's how this plays out for you. You spend a long time practicing, putting out videos, getting as good as you can, figuring out your niche where you can offer unique, distinct value. You've been studying your tentpole. So one of those tentpole events happens where everybody's going to flock to YouTube to find out what other people think about this thing, or they're going to flock to YouTube to learn how to build this thing. And you've created a great video in a specific niche as part of a series. And you optimized it. So before the video ends, you tell them what video to watch next. So people click and they stuck around. You had an enticing idea and you delivered on the value. So they stuck around till the end. And then you told them, if you like this video, I got more like it. Click on this video right up here. And they clicked, and then they clicked again. And when that happens, when someone clicks and clicks again, YouTube starts going, oh, this is working. They don't like one video, they like multiple videos, and they start doing all their creepy Google AI stuff, going through their viewing history, your archive videos, overlapping them. And then your channel chases them around YouTube for the next couple of weeks. You ever had this happen? You click on a video, you click on a second video, and then for the next month, this channel chases you around and they keep recommending it to you? You can have that happen, where you chase other people around YouTube for next month. And when that happens, that is so much more powerful than just being like, hey, can you guys click subscribe, please? Hey, can you smash that like button? No. Get people to watch 2 videos in a row, and then all of a sudden, YouTube starts working for you. And if you have a series of content where you deliver value in a niche, that's where it starts to change your life. And legitimately, when I started my channel, I was delivering paint for a living. I was picking up buckets of paint and carrying them in the hot Texas sun. That's what I did. And everything I taught in here changed the trajectory of my life. So now, the thing that I would do for free and was doing for free is what I do for a living. That's awesome. And it all goes back down to these principles that I taught in this lesson, this panel. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.